Happy day, this is Sangeetha Manoj from Department of Management Studies, BBA Shift 1, handling the topic probability sampling for the course Research Methods. Collecting data is an integral part of research and survey is the primary method used for research. Survey can be classified of two types, population or the census survey and sample survey. Now what is this population survey? When we meet the respondents or when we collect data from the entire group of individuals or items or objects which the researcher wants to, it is called as the population or the census survey. Due to paucity of time or due to the bigger size of population, if we want to resort as researchers to a smaller group which is a representative group, we can conduct something called as a sample survey. Now what is sampling? Sampling refers to the method of collecting a small pattern of data from as a representative group from the entire population for the purpose of investigation, and this small pattern is called as the sample. Before we move on, let me just give you what are the two basic types of sampling. One is called as the probability sampling, where each representative or each individual in the group has equal chance of getting selected from the population into the sample. These are classified into simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling and cluster sampling. In this module, we will be talking only about the probability sampling, and I thought I would just give you an introduction about the non-probability sampling is where there is no equal chance of the items getting selected in the sample. Before we move on to what is probability sampling and the techniques associated, this is one of the crucial things that you ought to know. What is sampling frame? Sampling frame is a list or collection from which the sample participants will be selected. For instance, it could be the students of a college, it could be the teachers of an institution, it could be the residents of a locality, the employees of an organization, etc. Now why do we have to need to know the sampling frame? The idea is probability sampling can be practiced when the list of participants are ready, and if it is not available, ideally choose non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, as explained earlier, can be diagrammatically represented this way with simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling and cluster sampling. We will see one by one now. Simple random sampling is where each element in the population has equal chance of getting included in the sample. The researcher makes a series of numbers from 1 to n. Here n stands for the population size. So using a random number table or a random number generator, a researcher chooses the sample size from the population n, and this sample size is represented as the small n. The probability of selection of this sample can be calculated as the sample size divided by the population size. I have depicted this random number table for your kind understanding. Any researcher can read out the numbers which are there and accordingly the sample will be selected. The next one is the systematic sampling. The population elements are ordered in a sequence by the researcher. The first element is selected and using the k interval, the second and the third and the fourth is selected in the sample. Here the small k stands for the size of the selection interval, capital N represents the population size and small n represents the sample size. I would like to narrate using an example. Suppose an auditor wants to check the purchase orders wherein the number of orders for a year are around 10,000. So here the population size is 10,000. As he intends looking at random 50 purchase orders. So small n is 50. Now to find out k, it is 10,000 divided by 50, that is 200. So the first sample element is chosen and from then the next 200th item falls into the sample. So, it could be 1, 200, 400, 600, or we can even choose a random number like 45th item, and from 45 becomes our 1 and 200 becomes the next. So, 245, 445, 645. So, this is how a systematic sampling is conducted. Stratified sampling, population is divided into 2 or more non-overlapping small or subpopulations, and each one is called as a strata. Now, a random sample is selected from each stratum using a proportionate systematic sampling or a disproportionate systematic sampling. I would like to give you an example here, employees of an organization as a sample. The first 3, that is 1, 10 and 12, indicates the upper level employees. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 and 11 indicates the middle level employees. 3, 5 and 9 indicates the lower level of employees. In this example, it shows following of a proportionate sample, wherein from the first level 1 is chosen and the last level 1 is chosen, but the middle level has majority of employees, so 2 are chosen. So, this is proportionate sampling. The next one is cluster sampling. Here the population is divided into non-overlapping clusters or areas, and this becomes the miniature of the population by itself. I would like to narrate with the help of an example. Suppose we are conducting a study at a hospital or a viewership study among the TV viewers. We would use a cluster sampling wherein a particular home or a resident will have several age group of individuals. The profiling, as far as a hospital is concerned, the profiling of the patient may be for different age group a different criterion. At the same time, the profiling for TV viewership also will be the choice of and preferences would be different for different age group. So, the cluster sample is wherein the group of individuals have a similar or same characteristics and they will be put together to conduct a study. I hope you had a good understanding about probability sampling and the types with appropriate examples. For more such videos and understanding, please like, share and subscribe to M.O.P Classroom.